Christine is a talented young editor with a vivid imagination and a fascination for her father's popular webtoon, Two Worlds. Her father, a famous but enigmatic webtoon artist, has always kept his creative process a secret, including details about his characters and storyline twists. As Two Worlds builds a devoted fanbase, Christine finds herself drawn deeply into the storyline, particularly to the webtoon's protagonist, Lorence, a skilled and charismatic fighter whose life is tangled in danger and mystery. One evening, as Christine reviews some of her father's newest work, she notices an unmarked folder on his computer containing unreleased scenes. Unable to resist, she opens the file and dives into the latest chapter. Just as she becomes engrossed in a particularly tense moment where Lorence confronts his powerful enemies, Christine experiences an intense flash of light. Her surroundings shift, and she suddenly finds herself standing in a dimly lit alleyway that feels strangely familiar yet surreal. As she looks around, she recognizes the setting as the very city depicted in her father's webtoon, a gritty, high-stakes world of secrets and shadows. Confused and frightened, Christine realizes that she has somehow crossed into the world of Two Worlds. Unsure of how to return, she cautiously wanders the streets, aware that she could run into danger at any moment. Christine's curiosity quickly turns to fear as she notices a group of men moving stealthily in her direction, whispering to each other. Just then, Lorence appears, pursued by these very men. Christine watches in awe as Lorence skillfully evades their attacks, his movements swift and calculated, just as she had imagined. Mesmerized by his presence, she follows at a safe distance, captivated by seeing the man who had once been only ink on a page brought to life. In her attempt to observe from the shadows, Christine accidentally steps on a loose piece of metal, drawing the attention of one of Lorence's enemies. Realizing she's been noticed, Christine tries to flee, but her movements only attract more attention. In a twist of fate, she ends up running straight into Lorence's path. Lorence, in the heat of the chase, grabs her arm and pulls her along to escape the enemies together. Although he's wary of her sudden appearance, he can tell she's not a threat, so he leads her to one of his hideouts. Once they're safe, Lorence questions Christine, his suspicion evident. Christine, realizing the dangers of revealing her true identity, tells him she is lost and disoriented, unsure of how she ended up there. Lorence, intrigued but cautious, agrees to let her stay temporarily, though he remains on guard. Christine, still reeling from the realization that she is actually part of her father's story, struggles to come to terms with her bizarre situation. Over the next few days, Christine becomes immersed in this alternate reality, marveling at how accurately her father captured the gritty essence of this world. Lorence is a guarded yet honorable man, and Christine sees firsthand the complexity of his life. Always on edge, always looking over his shoulder, he begins to share small details about his struggles, his battle against corrupt powers, and the emotional scars that haunt him. Christine, who has always admired Lorence from the pages of the webtoon, now sees a depth and vulnerability to him that had never fully come across in the story. As Christine explores her surroundings, she notices certain characters and scenes from the webtoon unfolding in real time around her. She realizes that this world operates according to the same timeline and events as her father's narrative, meaning she has an understanding of events yet to come. This realization gives her a glimmer of hope. Perhaps she can influence the course of the story. However, Christine is torn between wanting to protect Lorence and her fear of altering the webtoon's established storyline, which could have unforeseen consequences. Lorence remains wary of Christine, sensing there is more to her than meets the eye. Despite his caution, he finds himself drawn to her calm and empathetic nature, which is unlike anything he has experienced in his turbulent world. As they spend more time together, a tentative bond begins to form. Lorence, who has always been guarded and self-reliant, finds himself opening up to Christine in ways that surprise him, and Christine, in turn, grows more attached to Lorence, feeling a pull towards him that goes beyond the admiration of a reader. Christine's growing attachment to Lorence begins to blur her sense of reality. As she becomes more deeply involved in the webtoon world, she realizes that her influence can alter events in subtle but meaningful ways. For instance, she manages to prevent Lorence from walking into a trap she knows awaits him, slightly shifting the story's timeline. Lorence, surprised by her intuition, grows curious about her abilities and knowledge. Christine carefully dodges his questions, afraid of exposing her true origin and how much she knows about his life. As they navigate this precarious world together, Christine and Lorence's bond intensifies, with each saving the other in moments of danger. Their mutual dependence fosters a unique closeness, built on trust and unspoken emotions. Lorence is both fascinated and mystified by Christine's compassion and bravery, while Christine finds herself increasingly captivated by Lorence's strength and resilience. She worries that if she changes too many details, she could disrupt the story's flow and potentially trap herself in this world indefinitely. However, her desire to protect Lorence outweighs her fears, and she decides to continue making small alterations, hoping to lead him towards a better future. This delicate balance of maintaining the storyline while protecting Lorence becomes Christine's primary struggle. As the world around her responds to each change she makes, Christine realizes she is now an active part of this fictional universe. Her actions matter, and her choices carry consequences. With her heart firmly intertwined with Lorence's fate, Christine is determined to stay by his side, even as she grapples with the possibility that she may never return to her own world. Christine's time in Lorence's world intensifies, and she begins to observe the subtleties and nuances of his life that she could have never comprehended through mere pages of a webtoon. Each day, she learns more about Lorence's personality, his past, and the burdens he carries. It becomes apparent to her that Lorence is a deeply scarred man, haunted by a childhood full of betrayal, loss, and mistrust. Christine's compassion grows as she witnesses firsthand how these wounds have shaped him into the cold yet fiercely loyal person he is today. Though she yearns to comfort him, she realizes her position in his life is still fragile. One evening, as they sit in silence, Lorence opens up about his family, revealing painful memories and vulnerabilities he rarely shows to anyone. The revelation deepens Christine's understanding of his actions and fuels her desire to protect him from the traps that lie ahead. She gently reassures him, letting him know that he's not alone. Lorence, though initially hesitant, finds comfort in her words, and their unspoken bond strengthens, creating an invisible thread that connects them in this treacherous world. As Christine continues to alter events subtly, her actions draw the attention of Lorence's enemies, though she is unaware of the danger she's courting. One day, as she helps Lorence avoid a known ambush, a shadowy figure watches from afar, observing her unusual ability to anticipate every twist and turn. This figure, a powerful enemy of Lorence's, becomes increasingly suspicious, suspecting Christine might be more than an innocent outsider. Meanwhile, Lorence becomes increasingly curious about Christine's knowledge. She often seems to know things she couldn't possibly know, small details about people, events, and places. Lorence's curiosity mingles with his concern for her safety, and he starts questioning her background more openly, wanting to understand why she possesses such extraordinary insight. Caught off guard, Christine tries to deflect his questions, explaining that she's just observant, hoping to keep her connection to the webtoon hidden for as long as possible. Her reluctance only deepens Lorence's intrigue, making him more determined to uncover the truth about her. Despite her attempts at secrecy, Christine realizes that Lorence's world is adjusting to her presence, shifting in unpredictable ways. As she learns more about this world's inner workings, she begins to understand the ripple effect her actions are causing. Small changes in Lorence's storyline are morphing into larger events, creating new dangers she hadn't foreseen. As Christine and Lorence spend more time together, their bond evolves into something deeper and more personal. Despite Lorence's guarded nature, Christine's kindness and sincerity gradually break down his walls. He starts to trust her in ways he has never trusted anyone else, allowing himself to be vulnerable around her. Christine, on the other hand, finds herself increasingly drawn to Lorence, captivated by his bravery and resilience. Their connection is undeniable, yet Christine remains painfully aware of the distance that lies between them, a distance not just of worlds, but of realities. One night, Lorence takes Christine to a secluded rooftop overlooking the city, a rare moment of tranquility in their chaotic lives. As they share a quiet conversation under the stars, Christine realizes how much her heart has become entangled in this world and, most importantly, in Lorence's life. But with this growing attachment comes a looming fear. What if she can't find her way back to her own world? Or worse, what if Lorence's world can't handle the changes she's introducing? Determined to savor the moment, Christine pushes aside her fears, embracing the joy of simply being beside him. Lorence, sensing Christine's unspoken anxieties, offers her comfort in his own silent way, placing a hand on her shoulder and sharing a rare, gentle smile. It's a small gesture, yet it speaks volumes to Christine, filling her with hope and a sense of belonging. In that moment, she silently vows to protect him, even if it means disrupting the storyline further. The peace of their rooftop moment is shattered the next day when Lorence's enemies close in on them, spurred by Christine's unforeseen interference in recent events. As Christine and Lorence make a daring escape, Christine's ability to anticipate each enemy's move becomes glaringly apparent. Lorence, in the heat of the battle, finally confronts her, demanding to know how she could have such intimate knowledge of his world and enemies. Cornered and unable to keep her secret any longer, Christine reluctantly reveals part of the truth. She confesses that she comes from a different place, one where Lorence and his world exist only in the form of a story. She explains that she's somehow been pulled into this world, where everything she once knew as fiction has become a tangible reality. Lorence is stunned, grappling with the notion that his life and struggles are known, even documented, in a different dimension. The revelation shakes their dynamic to its core. Lorence is unsure whether he can trust her, yet he cannot deny the impact she's had on his life. His fear of being manipulated by unknown forces makes him wary, yet his feelings for Christine complicate his judgment. Christine, now vulnerable and exposed, fears that Lorence might reject her, but she stands firm, ready to face whatever his reaction may be. Lorence decides to keep her by his side, though with a newfound caution. He recognizes the gravity of her revelation and its implications, yet he chooses to continue their alliance, hoping that her knowledge can lead him to answers about his enemies and the mysteries surrounding his life. With an uneasy but unbreakable bond, Christine and Lorence step forward, knowing that their journey together is only beginning and that the line between their worlds may be more fragile than they ever imagined. Christine and Lorence's relationship is strained yet undeniably deepened after Christine's revelation. While Lorence decides to keep her by his side, a quiet tension simmers between them. Lorence's trust has been shaken, and though he's willing to give her a chance, Christine senses his caution. Determined to prove herself, Christine immerses herself in helping him. She gathers as much information as possible, using her knowledge of his world's storyline to outmaneuver his enemies and strengthen his defenses. However, Christine soon realizes that her actions are altering more than just minor events. The storyline is beginning to take a life of its own. Events she didn't anticipate start to unfold, making it clear that the world is adapting to her presence in unpredictable ways. Lorence's enemies are becoming bolder, and those close to him start questioning his decisions, especially regarding his mysterious companion. Rumors spread, questioning Christine's loyalty and intentions, and Lorence is caught in a dilemma. Should he stand by her, risking his reputation and his mission, or cut ties for his own safety? One evening, Lorence confronts Christine about her continued secrecy, expressing frustration over her vague explanations. Christine, knowing she can't share every detail, reassures him that she is fully committed to his cause. In a moment of vulnerability, she confesses how deeply she cares about him, hoping it will ease his doubts. Lorence, though moved, remains guarded, his emotions conflicted. As Christine's influence on the world grows, so do the consequences. Lorence's enemies are not only targeting him now, they begin to set traps for Christine, sensing she's a new player in the game. Christine realizes she's unknowingly attracted the attention of a dangerous adversary, one who seems to know more about her origins than she does. This enemy, a mysterious figure named Cyrus, seems to understand her unique knowledge and appears determined to exploit it for his own gain. One night, Cyrus confronts Christine in a deserted alley, revealing he knows she's from another world. Shocked and terrified, Christine tries to flee, but Cyrus is relentless. He offers her a chilling deal. If she helps him take down Lorence, he'll show her a way back to her own world. Torn between her desire to return home and her loyalty to Lorence, Christine refuses, risking her own safety. However, Cyrus makes it clear that he won't take no for an answer, and Christine realizes she's caught in a deadly web, with Cyrus threatening to expose her if she doesn't cooperate. Christine decides to confide in Lorence about Cyrus, warning him about the man's intentions. To her surprise, Lorence reacts with a fury she's never seen before. He reveals that Cyrus is not only his most dangerous enemy, but someone who was once a close friend and betrayed him in the most brutal way. This revelation strengthens their bond as they realize they must stand together to face Cyrus, whose motives are darker than they'd imagined. With the threat of Cyrus looming, Christine and Lorence grow closer, learning to rely on each other in ways they hadn't before. Despite the dangers, Christine begins to feel more at home in Lorence's world, her love for him deepening with each passing day. Lorence, too, finds himself opening up to Christine, letting down his guard and showing her parts of himself he'd kept hidden. He confides in her about his past, his regrets, and the guilt he carries. Christine listens, offering comfort and support, feeling more connected to him than she ever thought possible. Their shared moments create an unspoken bond that neither can deny. Lorence, though conflicted by his feelings, can't ignore the depth of his attraction to Christine. Yet, he's aware of the potential consequences of loving someone from another world, knowing it could complicate his mission and put Christine in even greater danger. Nevertheless, he finds himself drawn to her, his resolve weakening with each glance and touch. As they work together to unravel Cyrus's plans, Christine realizes that her knowledge of the storyline is becoming less reliable. Events are spiraling out of her control, taking on a life of their own. She fears that her presence has disrupted the delicate balance of Lorence's world, creating new threats and dangers that weren't part of the original story. Despite her fears, Christine is determined to protect Lorence, even if it means sacrificing her chance to return to her own world. The growing tension between Christine, Lorence, and Cyrus reaches a breaking point when Cyrus sets a trap for Lorence, using Christine as bait. Cyrus sends her a message, threatening to harm Lorence if she doesn't cooperate. Desperate to protect him, Christine reluctantly agrees to meet with Cyrus, hoping to reason with him. However, she quickly realizes that Cyrus has no intention of letting her go. Lorence, sensing something is wrong, tracks her down and arrives just in time to confront Cyrus. A fierce battle ensues, with Christine caught in the middle. Cyrus taunts Lorence, revealing that he knows Christine's secret and threatening to use it against them. Lorence, enraged, fights back with everything he has, determined to protect Christine at all costs. In the chaos, Christine is injured, and Lorence is forced to choose between pursuing Cyrus or saving her. He chooses Christine, carrying her to safety despite his injuries. As they recover, Lorence confesses his feelings for her, admitting he can no longer deny the depth of his love. Christine, overwhelmed with emotion, realizes that she feels the same way. They share a tender, heartfelt moment, knowing that their love is both a blessing and a curse in this dangerous world. However, the battle with Cyrus has left them with more questions than answers. Christine's presence has disrupted the storyline in ways they can't predict, and they know that Cyrus won't stop until he gets what he wants. Determined to protect each other, Christine and Lorence vow to face whatever challenges lie ahead together, their love and loyalty unshaken. After narrowly escaping Cyrus's clutches, Christine and Lorence are both physically and emotionally drained. Yet, their bond has grown undeniable, and Christine feels a stronger commitment to Lorence's world. Even as her heart urges her to stay, she's haunted by the fear that her presence is still disrupting his reality. However, Lorence insists that she is more than a complication. She's become his hope. As they continue to recuperate, Lorence shares fragments of his past that he's never spoken about. He reveals that Cyrus, once his closest friend, turned into his greatest adversary after a betrayal born out of ambition and envy. When Cyrus betrayed him, Lorence was devastated. The trust he once held for others shattered. Christine listens, realizing that she, too, has a tangled relationship with trust, given her own mysterious knowledge of this world. Lorence's vulnerability strengthens Christine's resolve to protect him from further pain. Meanwhile, Christine is beginning to experience strange shifts within herself. It feels as though the world is tugging at her consciousness, trying to pull her back to her own reality. These sensations are disturbing, almost as if her existence in Lorence's world is causing reality to tear at the seams. Lorence notices her moments of disorientation, and though Christine tries to hide them, Lorence's concern grows. In an attempt to ground herself, Christine begins documenting the events of this world, cataloging them in hopes of understanding how her presence affects the storyline. But as she writes, she realizes that some details have altered without her intervention. It's as though the story is taking on a life of its own, pushing Christine and Lorence toward an uncertain future. Cyrus, wounded by his previous failure, is more determined than ever to undermine Lorence. He decides to escalate his campaign, spreading false rumors about Lorence's intentions and turning those closest to him against him. The discontent among Lorence's allies grows, and Christine finds herself fighting not only for Lorence's survival but for his honor as well. Lorence, known as a hero to his people, is being cast as a traitor in his own realm. To make matters worse, Cyrus discovers Christine's secret, her knowledge of the storyline and her ability to predict events. He decides to use this against her, staging a trap that plays on her fear of disrupting Lorence's world. One evening, Christine receives a letter claiming to offer answers about her purpose in Lorence's realm. Intrigued, she secretly goes to meet the sender, only to realize too late that it's a setup orchestrated by Cyrus. Lorence discovers her absence and pursues her, his heart pounding with dread. When he finds her, she's held captive by Cyrus, who taunts them both with twisted words. Cyrus reveals his intentions to exploit Christine's abilities, planning to rewrite the future for his own gain. He mocks Lorence for trusting Christine, suggesting that her presence has only brought him misfortune. Enraged, Lorence fights back, but Cyrus manages to escape, leaving a chilling warning that he will not rest until he controls both of them. After the harrowing encounter, Christine feels guilt and shame. She realizes that, despite her best intentions, her actions have only given Cyrus more power. Lorence, however, reassures her that they'll face these trials together. He refuses to let her blame herself, affirming that her presence is not a burden but a blessing. In the aftermath of the confrontation with Cyrus, Christine and Lorence's connection deepens in ways neither expected. Despite the chaos around them, they find solace in each other's presence. Lorence takes Christine to a secluded place where they can escape from the pressures of the world, even if only for a moment. He opens up to her about his dreams and fears, revealing a softer side he seldom shows. Christine listens, her heart aching with the realization that she can no longer imagine a life without him. As they spend more time together, Christine's fears about the effects of her presence begin to wane, replaced by an undeniable love for Lorence. Yet, she knows that their bond defies the natural order of both their worlds. Their love is a beautiful but fragile flame, one that could be extinguished at any moment by forces beyond their control. Just as they begin to hope for a future together, Cyrus launches another attack, this time striking at the heart of Lorence's realm. He unleashes a wave of destruction, causing Lorence's people to question his ability to protect them. Christine realizes that Cyrus's power is growing, and his knowledge of her secret has made him even more dangerous. She feels an overwhelming sense of responsibility, knowing that her connection to Lorence might be the very thing that is weakening his world. Determined to help, Christine devises a plan. She decides to confront Cyrus on her own terms, hoping to negotiate with him in exchange for Lorence's safety. However, Lorence vehemently opposes this idea, warning her that Cyrus will only exploit her further. But Christine, driven by love, is willing to make any sacrifice to protect Lorence, even if it means putting herself in harm's way. Christine sneaks away in the dead of night, leaving behind a note for Lorence, explaining her decision to confront Cyrus alone. She makes her way to Cyrus's lair, where she confronts him with a bold proposal. If he agrees to leave Lorence and his realm alone, she will use her knowledge to help him achieve power. Cyrus, intrigued but skeptical, agrees to consider her offer. However, just as they begin to negotiate, Lorence arrives, having followed Christine's trail. Furious and betrayed, he demands to know why Christine would put herself at risk. Christine, with tears in her eyes, explains that she can't bear to see him suffer any longer. She begs him to understand that her love for him is what led her to this decision, even if it means sacrificing herself. Lorence, realizing the depth of her love, embraces her, promising that they will face their battles together. He turns to Cyrus and, with newfound determination, declares that he will protect Christine and his realm at any cost. Cyrus, seeing their united front, realizes that he has underestimated their bond. He warns them that their love will ultimately be their downfall, for the world will not tolerate an anomaly like Christine's existence for long. In a final act of defiance, Lorence challenges Cyrus to a battle, vowing to end his reign of terror once and for all. The two engage in a fierce duel, with Christine watching in anguish. Despite Lorence's skill, Cyrus gains the upper hand, and it seems all hope is lost. But in a moment of desperation, Christine reaches out to the fabric of this world, willing it to bend to her desires. Her love for Lorence ignites a surge of energy that disrupts Cyrus's power, allowing Lorence to defeat him. Exhausted but victorious, Lorence and Christine share a moment of relief, realizing that they've overcome yet another obstacle. However, they're both painfully aware that the balance of Lorence's world has been permanently altered. Their love has saved them, but it has also disrupted the natural order, and they know that more challenges lie ahead. After the battle with Cyrus, Christine and Lorence find themselves in a tense period of rebuilding. Lorence's realm is shaken by the damages caused by Cyrus's attacks and the people's shaken faith in their ruler. Christine feels responsible, aware that her presence has shifted the balance of this world, but Lorence reassures her, emphasizing that he wouldn't have made it through without her. Despite the turmoil, he believes that their love has the power to heal the damage left by Cyrus. As they work together to restore Lorence's kingdom, their relationship deepens. Lorence introduces Christine to his closest advisors, and she becomes involved in the decisions needed to rebuild his realm. While Christine still experiences the odd, unsettling feeling that her presence disrupts this world, she learns to bury her fears, choosing instead to focus on the love and trust Lorence has given her. Lorence's people, however, remain wary of her. They see her as an outsider who has brought both strength and chaos. As Christine helps to rebuild villages and heal the wounds left by Cyrus's attacks, some of the people start to warm up to her, while others continue to resent her as the cause of their troubles. Christine grows determined to prove her loyalty, even if it means risking her own life. During this period, Christine has a strange experience. She dreams of her world, seeing fragments of her life before she crossed into Lorence's realm. In her dreams, she glimpses her family and friends, and she is reminded of the life she left behind. Torn between her love for Lorence and the memories of her past, Christine struggles with the idea that she might one day have to return to her world. One day, Lorence receives a mysterious message from an oracle who claims to know the truth about Christine's origins. Intrigued and a bit uneasy, Lorence and Christine visit the oracle, an elderly woman with piercing eyes and a knowledge of both past and future. The oracle warns them that their love, though pure, threatens the delicate balance of both worlds. She explains that Christine's presence here disrupts the very fabric of time and space. The oracle reveals that Christine was meant to return to her own world after a brief time in Lorence's, her presence intended only to guide him through the initial challenges of his leadership. But their love created a rift, binding Christine to this realm and creating chaos. The only solution, the oracle insists, is for Christine to leave and restore the natural order. Heartbroken and terrified by the idea of losing her, Lorence argues with the oracle, demanding another way. Christine, too, is devastated but understands the weight of the oracle's words. Torn between staying with Lorence and preventing further destruction, Christine is left with a painful decision. Lorence refuses to give up, though, and asks the oracle if there's any way they can remain together without causing harm. After a long silence, the oracle mentions an ancient ritual that may allow Christine to remain in Lorence's world. The ritual, however, demands a great sacrifice, one that could cost them both dearly. But Lorence, undeterred, agrees to pursue the ritual, determined to fight fate itself for the woman he loves. The ritual requires them to journey to the sacred mountain, a place of immense spiritual power where they can attempt to bind Christine to Lorence's world without disrupting the balance. The journey is perilous, filled with mythical beasts, treacherous paths, and supernatural forces that seek to deter them. As they travel, Lorence and Christine encounter tests that challenge their courage, faith, and loyalty to one another. Along the way, Christine is haunted by visions of her world. She sees her family's faces, her old life beckoning her, and feels the deep pull to return. Yet, each time she doubts, Lorence is there, reminding her of their love and the life they've built together. They rely on each other through every hardship, growing closer with each obstacle. As they near the mountain's summit, Lorence falls seriously ill, weakened by a magical storm that guards the mountain's sacred ground. Christine, heartbroken, carries him to shelter and nurses him back to health, vowing to protect him as he has protected her. They spend a night in each other's arms, fully aware that their time together may soon come to an end. Finally, they reach the summit, where the ritual must be performed. The ancient texts warn that the ritual requires them to confront their greatest fears, and Christine knows that her deepest fear is a world where she is forced to live without Lorence. Likewise, Lorence fears losing Christine, watching her slip away into the shadows of her own world. They brace themselves, ready to face whatever the ritual demands. At the summit, they begin the ritual. The air is charged with powerful energy, and the ground trembles as they perform the incantations. The ritual pulls them into a trance-like state, where they face their deepest fears in a surreal vision. Christine finds herself back in her own world, surrounded by her family and friends, yet she feels an emptiness that only Lorence can fill. She realizes that, no matter where she is, her heart belongs to him. Lorence, in his vision, watches Christine fade away, her form dissolving into mist as she returns to her world. The pain is overwhelming, but he holds onto the knowledge that his love for her transcends the bounds of space and time. With newfound strength, he reaches out, determined to break free of his vision and return to Christine. In the waking world, Christine and Lorence's bodies are enveloped in a powerful light, the energy of the ritual testing their bond. Just as they are about to succeed, a voice warns them of the price they must pay. To truly bind Christine to this world, Lorence must give up his claim to the throne, sacrificing his life of power and legacy. Without hesitation, Lorence agrees, willing to surrender everything for the chance to be with Christine. The ritual completes, and Christine is finally bound to Lorence's world. But as they descend the mountain, they both feel the weight of Lorence's sacrifice. He will no longer be able to rule his people, and his legacy will be lost to history. The decision is bittersweet, yet Lorence assures Christine that she is worth every sacrifice. They return to his realm with a newfound understanding of love's true power and cost. Though their journey has been fraught with danger and heartbreak, they know they are now bound to each other's destinies. They will face the uncertain future together, with the hope that their love will withstand whatever trials may come. Returning to the kingdom, Christine and Lorence feel the impact of Lorence's choice to give up his royal claim in exchange for Christine's permanence in his world. The once celebrated king is now viewed with suspicion, as rumors spread that he gave up his throne for the love of an outsider. Christine, feeling guilt and sorrow for the burden Lorence now bears, wants nothing more than to support him in his new life. Without the crown's protection, Lorence faces challenges he's never encountered before. Former allies turn their backs on him, and even close advisors distance themselves. Many fear that the kingdom will fall into chaos without Lorence as king, as he had been a respected and beloved leader. Lorence struggles with a sense of loss and uncertainty, but he hides his pain from Christine, assuring her that he has no regrets. Christine, however, senses Lorence's inner turmoil. She knows that giving up his position has wounded him deeply, and she feels responsible. Determined to prove her worth, Christine makes it her mission to help Lorence adapt to his new life. Together, they decide to work on the land Lorence once ruled, dedicating their time to rebuilding villages affected by Cyrus's attacks. While working alongside Lorence, Christine starts earning the respect of his people. She learns their traditions, their culture, and their struggles. As she embraces the life of an ordinary citizen, the people begin to see her not as an outsider, but as one of their own. She brings a unique wisdom from her world, helping to introduce small changes that improve the villagers' lives. Slowly, Christine and Lorence find peace in their simpler life, away from the palace's grandeur. Despite their new life, remnants of the past still haunt them. The nobility and former court officials plot to reclaim power, and some see Christine as a symbol of the upheaval that has shaken the kingdom. They whisper that she has bewitched Lorence, causing him to forsake his duty, and spread the idea that the kingdom would prosper if she were gone. Threats and warnings begin to surface, with messages left for Christine, warning her to leave and not ruin their land. Lorence becomes increasingly protective of Christine, vowing to keep her safe from harm. He realizes that, while he may no longer be king, he still has influence over his former allies. He uses this leverage to confront those spreading malicious rumors, hoping to shield Christine from further harassment. But this only adds fuel to the fire, as those who oppose him grow more determined to separate them. One night, an assassination attempt is made on Christine. A group of masked attackers break into their home, and Lorence and Christine must fight to defend themselves. Despite being outnumbered, they manage to fend off the attackers, but it leaves them shaken. Lorence realizes that their love will continue to be challenged by forces beyond their control, and he feels helpless, fearing he can no longer protect Christine. The near-death experience forces them to confront the possibility that their love could come at a steep cost. Though they are deeply shaken, they find strength in each other. Lorence vows to keep Christine safe, no matter what, and Christine, in turn, promises that she will not let fear drive her away, believing that their love is worth fighting for. Just as they begin to find some semblance of peace, an unexpected figure returns to the kingdom, the prince's younger brother, Castor, who left years ago after a family dispute. Castor, who once showed little interest in ruling, has now returned with aspirations of taking the throne. Having heard of Lorence's abdication, Castor declares his intentions to become the next ruler, rallying support from former courtiers and nobles who seek to restore stability. However, Castor's return is not as simple as it seems. He arrives with a powerful alliance, having married into a family from a neighboring kingdom. His wife, Lady Valeria, is a formidable woman known for her cunning and ambition. Together, they present themselves as the solution to the kingdom's woes, promising to restore order and prosperity. Castor and Valeria invite Lorence and Christine to the palace, where they offer them a chance to return to a life of comfort if they agree to support Castor's rule. Lorence and Christine are wary but agree to attend the meeting. During the tense encounter, Castor reveals his disdain for Lorence's choice, claiming that he sacrificed the kingdom's future for the sake of a single woman. Valeria, with her sharp gaze fixed on Christine, implies that the kingdom would be better off without her. Despite the thinly veiled insults, Christine remains calm, refusing to give in to their provocations. Realizing that Castor's reign could bring new challenges to the people they care for, Christine and Lorence decide to stay involved, monitoring Castor's intentions and protecting the citizens from any unjust policies. Though they are no longer in power, they find subtle ways to advocate for the people, determined to ensure that Castor's rule doesn't bring ruin to the kingdom. As Castor's rule solidifies, Lorence and Christine continue working closely with the people, gaining a reputation as advocates and protectors of the common folk. Christine's modern ideas and Lorence's wisdom bring positive change to the villages, and soon, they are seen as leaders of a new kind, even without titles. They gain the respect and loyalty of the people in a way that transcends political power. The people's admiration for Lorence and Christine begins to worry Castor and Valeria. Despite their efforts to present themselves as the kingdom's rightful rulers, they can sense that the hearts of the people lie with Lorence and Christine. This leads Valeria to plot a way to weaken their influence, planning a scheme to frame Christine as a traitor. One evening, soldiers arrive at Lorence and Christine's village, accusing Christine of conspiring against Castor's rule. They present forged letters as evidence of Christine's betrayal and arrest her, taking her to the palace dungeons. Lorence, heartbroken and furious, tries to intervene, but he is warned that any further resistance will only lead to harsher punishment for Christine. Imprisoned, Christine finds herself at the mercy of Castor and Valeria, who attempt to break her spirit. Despite the harsh treatment, Christine remains resolute, clinging to the belief that her love for Lorence and the people's support will sustain her. In the dungeon, she meets other prisoners who have suffered under Castor's rule, learning of the injustices committed in the name of stability. News of Christine's imprisonment spreads, and the people rally, demanding her release. Villagers, townsfolk, and even members of the palace staff begin to protest, showing their loyalty to Lorence and Christine. Inspired by the people's courage, Lorence devises a plan to free Christine, gathering allies from within the palace and coordinating a daring rescue. With the kingdom's eyes upon them, Christine's trial becomes a public spectacle, and Lorence knows that it's their chance to reveal Castor and Valeria's corruption. As he prepares for the final confrontation, Lorence realizes that he and Christine are no longer fighting for themselves alone. They are fighting for the soul of the kingdom. In a palace grand hall filled with onlookers, the day of Christine's trial arrives. Castor and Valeria intend to humiliate her publicly, hoping that her conviction will eliminate her influence over the people and solidify their rule. Christine, worn but unbroken, stands in front of a council handpicked by Castor, each member loyal to the new regime. Valeria's forged evidence is presented, claiming Christine has been secretly plotting against Castor to overthrow his authority. Lorence, prepared to defend Christine, has gathered testimonies from villagers and palace staff who have witnessed Castor's oppressive rule and Valeria's manipulations. With the crowd's attention, Lorence passionately pleads for Christine's innocence. He recounts the true events of the past months, highlighting Christine's love for the kingdom and her sacrifices for its people. Christine's resilience and commitment to justice have inspired loyalty and devotion from commoners and nobles alike. Lorence's words resonate, stirring murmurs in the crowd as many realize the truth behind the trial. Valeria, sensing the tide turning, accuses Lorence of attempting to usurp the throne himself. But Lorence remains undeterred, exposing Valeria's corruption with the evidence he has collected. Members of the audience gasp as he unveils Valeria's secret dealings, her bribes to officials, and her attempts to intimidate those who questioned her actions. Even some of the council members, shaken by Lorence's revelations, begin to doubt their loyalty to Castor and Valeria. Finally, in a last desperate attempt to prove Christine's innocence, Lorence produces a letter from one of Castor's former allies, confessing that Valeria orchestrated Christine's imprisonment. Castor, under pressure, looks visibly shaken. Valeria, feeling her control slipping, turns on him, accusing him of being weak and unfit to rule. The confrontation lays bare the deceit that has plagued the kingdom under Castor's rule. With the people's support firmly behind Christine and Lorence, the council is forced to reconsider. After a long deliberation, Christine is declared innocent, and the crowd erupts in cheers. Castor and Valeria are taken into custody, but Lorence and Christine agree to spare them harsh punishment, believing that mercy is the ultimate display of true leadership. The trial marks the beginning of a new era. The people of the kingdom are inspired by Christine's resilience and Lorence's integrity. Recognizing their courage and wisdom, the council and citizens rally together, urging Lorence and Christine to lead once more. Though they are hesitant, the overwhelming support and trust from the people compel them to accept. Lorence and Christine are crowned together as the kingdom's co-leaders in a ceremony filled with joy and gratitude. They vow to lead with compassion and honesty, seeking to mend the kingdom's divisions and rebuild what was lost. Christine, with her unique insights from her own world, introduces reforms that improve the lives of commoners, strengthen local governance, and ensure fair representation. Christine's ideas challenge traditional practices, but her dedication to the people's welfare earns her the respect of even the most conservative nobles. Lorence stands by her, offering guidance and strength, and together they become symbols of unity and hope. Under their joint rule, the kingdom experiences a resurgence of prosperity and peace, as old feuds are resolved and new alliances are forged. Their love, once seen as a threat to the kingdom, now becomes its foundation. The people regard them not just as rulers, but as a testament to the power of love and courage. Christine and Lorence continue their work in the villages, side by side with their people, creating a lasting legacy that reshapes the kingdom for generations. Just as peace seems to have taken root, Christine and Lorence receive word of a mysterious visitor who has been asking questions about them. The stranger claims to be a traveler from Christine's world, sent by an organization that monitors crossings between dimensions. He introduces himself as Professor Emile, an enigmatic figure with an intense interest in Christine's journey to Lorence's world. Emile explains that Christine's crossing into Lorence's realm disrupted the delicate balance between worlds. He warns that her presence could have unintended consequences, potentially destabilizing both her original world and the kingdom. Christine and Lorence listen carefully, realizing that the strange occurrences they've experienced, the visions, the shifting timelines, and the blurred memories, may be symptoms of a larger issue. Emile insists that Christine must return to her world to prevent further disruptions. Christine, heartbroken by the idea of leaving Lorence, struggles with the choice. She has found her home in this kingdom, her place with Lorence, and the thought of losing him is unbearable. Lorence, equally devastated, reassures Christine that he will support whatever decision she makes. The kingdom is divided. Some support Christine's return, fearing the consequences of her staying, while others rally behind her, unwilling to lose their beloved queen. Christine ultimately decides to stay, promising Emile that she will work to protect the balance between worlds. Emile warns her of the risks, but respects her decision, leaving her with a device that will allow her to monitor any shifts in the dimensional balance. As time passes, Christine and Lorence's love grows deeper, strengthened by the trials they've faced. They continue to rule with wisdom, compassion, and humility, gaining the trust and admiration of their people. However, Christine notices subtle signs of change. Her memories of her world begin to fade, and the device Emile left occasionally emits strange signals, hinting at disturbances she cannot fully understand. One day, Christine experiences a vision of her old life, and a deep sadness washes over her. She realizes that while she has found happiness in Lorence's world, part of her is still connected to the life she left behind. Lorence, sensing her sorrow, encourages her to share her memories with him. Together, they explore her past, sharing stories of her world and the life she once knew. In a tender moment, Lorence makes a promise. If the time comes when Christine must return, he will not stop her. Though the idea breaks his heart, he understands that true love means allowing her the freedom to choose her own path. Christine, moved by his selflessness, assures him that her love for him transcends time and space, that even if they are separated, their love will endure. They resolve to live fully in the present, cherishing each day they have together. Christine and Lorence continue to lead the kingdom, building a legacy of compassion and courage. Their story becomes a tale passed down through generations, a love that overcame worlds, a love that changed a kingdom, and a love that defied the boundaries of time itself. Christine and Lorence face an uncertain future with unwavering hope and faith in each other. As the seasons change, the kingdom thrives under the leadership of Christine and Lorence. Their rule is marked by peace, prosperity, and unity. But with each passing day, Christine becomes more attuned to the delicate balance between her world and Lorence's. Despite her deep love for Lorence and the kingdom, she cannot escape the recurring feelings of displacement, the subtle signals from the device Emile had left behind, and the undeniable pull of her original world. Christine spends her nights pacing the palace gardens, lost in thought. Her heart is torn between the life she has built in this world and the memories of the one she left behind. The moments she shares with Lorence are everything she ever dreamed of. His love is steadfast, unwavering, and true. But the reality of her existence in Lorence's world feels increasingly fragile. At times, she feels like an outsider, as though she is meant for something greater than the life she is living now. Lorence, ever perceptive of her moods, gently pulls her aside one evening as the sun sets over the horizon. He can see the weight on her heart, the uncertainty in her eyes. With his strong, comforting presence, he asks her what is troubling her, and she opens up about the growing sense of being caught between two worlds. Though she has made a home here, part of her soul is still anchored in the life she once knew. Lorence listens intently, and his heart aches to see her in such turmoil. "I cannot imagine my life without you, Christine," Lorence admits softly. "But I also understand that you have to live for yourself. Whatever you choose, I will support you." Christine, though grateful for his understanding, cannot help but feel conflicted. She knows that staying with Lorence would mean forsaking her old world forever, and yet, leaving him behind would break her heart. The choice is almost too much to bear. She holds his hand, and for a moment, they simply stand together in silence, the weight of the decision looming over them like an impending storm. Then, out of nowhere, the device Emile gave Christine begins to beep urgently, flashing with erratic patterns of light. The strange signals that had been faint in the past have now grown stronger, and the air around them seems to hum with energy. Christine instinctively knows that the moment of decision is at hand. The earth beneath them trembles, and a rift begins to form in the sky, a swirling vortex of light and shadow that appears to be a direct link between her world and Lorence's. It's as if the very fabric of reality is tearing itself apart, and Christine realizes that the time has come for her to face the consequences of her choice. In that moment, Christine knows what she must do. She turns to Lorence, her eyes filled with love, and whispers, "I have to go back. I cannot ignore what is happening to both worlds. But I promise you this, my heart will always be with you, no matter where I am." Lorence's expression softens, the love he feels for her radiating from him, but there is a sadness in his eyes as well. He knows the truth in her words. He understands the gravity of what must be done, even if it means losing her. But he also knows that her courage, her sense of duty, and her unwavering heart have always been the very things that made her extraordinary. "I love you, Christine," he says, his voice thick with emotion. "I will never forget you. And if you're meant to return to me, I will wait. I promise you that." Christine leans into him, her hand resting on his chest, feeling the warmth of his love one last time. She knows that the path she is about to take is uncertain, but she trusts that whatever happens, she and Lorence will always be connected, no matter the distance between their worlds. Christine steps into the rift, leaving Lorence behind with a heavy heart. As she enters the vortex, her world begins to blur. The familiar sights of the kingdom fade into a swirl of light and sound, and she is pulled through time and space. When she finally emerges, she finds herself back in her original world, her home, the life she had left behind. The shock of the transition is overwhelming. The familiar faces, the sights of the city she once knew, the hum of life around her. It all comes rushing back. But something is different. She is different. Christine realizes that the world she left behind is not the same one she remembers. The landscape has changed, people have moved on, and the world seems to be in turmoil. Yet, despite everything, she feels a deep sense of belonging. It is as though her very soul has been called back to this place, the place where her journey began. However, the peace she hoped for does not come easily. The device Emile gave her continues to pulse with strange energy, indicating that something is still off. The connection between the two worlds has not been fully severed, and Christine is caught in a liminal space between both realities. She is constantly reminded of her love for Lorence, of the kingdom she helped build, and of the people who now rely on her leadership. Christine's heart aches as she looks out over the city, wondering what has become of Lorence, of their kingdom, and of their love. She knows that her choice to leave him behind was necessary, but it doesn't make it any easier. She has to learn how to live in this world once more, but her heart remains divided. She does not belong here completely, yet she cannot shake the memory of the life she once shared with Lorence. In a final moment of clarity, Christine receives a message from Emile, warning her that the connection between the two worlds can never truly be undone. There are greater forces at play, and the balance between the worlds is fragile. Christine must make a choice. Either she stays in her original world and lets the connection fade, or she returns to Lorence's world to fix the rift once and for all, risking everything to restore the balance. With tears in her eyes, Christine closes her eyes and whispers a prayer to the universe, asking for guidance. She knows what must be done, even if it means sacrificing everything once more. Christine makes her decision. She will return to Lorence, to the world where her heart belongs. She cannot bear the thought of living in a world without him. Her love for him transcends time and space, and she knows that together they can heal both worlds. With determination in her heart, Christine activates the device, and the rift forms once more. She steps into the light, knowing that her journey is far from over, but her heart is at peace. Whatever the future holds, she knows that she and Lorence will always be connected. No matter the challenges, no matter the distance, no matter the worlds that separate them. As Christine emerges in Lorence's world once again, and their eyes meet across the distance, no words are needed. Their love is eternal, and together, they will face whatever challenges lie ahead, united in heart and soul. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the story. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more delightful stories.